Flight to Clutton Hill. So we're taking off here, accelerating up to 50 knots, and then we get airborne, and then we allow our speed to build up to 60 knots, which is why we're flying quite flat, and then we pull back, and then we gain quite a lot of altitude quite quickly. And we're heading north here. If we carried on flying, we'd hit the M4, but we're going to turn westerly. Got some nice fields for an emergency landing beneath us. And that's what makes Wiltshire such a nice place for pilots, because lots of wide open fields. And as we turn onto 270 degrees, you can see the town of Melksham and the industrial estates of Melksham. So we speed up now as we pass Melksham. It was a lovely day. I think that's the Kennet and Avon Canal we could see winding underneath us. As we come towards Bradford-on-Avon, very picturesque town. That's on our left-hand side. And then just about to see a little bit of Limpley Stoke and the city of Bath on the right-hand side. And we've got Bath and the MOD works on the top of Bath. And the cloud level is getting a bit lower, so we have to duck down underneath the cloud. Could remain clear of the cloud. But it does make for interesting flying footage. Now we can see Clutton Hill ahead of us, as it has the hedge across the field, halfway along the field. This is real-time footage now of my approach, and I'm planning to try and land just after the hedge. That's pretty good judgment there. And then we flare the aircraft as the wheels come down, and two pheasants there. Nearly got hit by the aircraft, but there wasn't much I could do about that. And then once we slow down, we turn the aircraft around and backtrack along the runway. I think that's Clutton Hill there. You can actually see Clutton Hill itself. And then we had some nice food in the very, very nice restaurant, which is off the end of the runway, called the Hunter's Rest. Really nice food. It actually has a steam engine railway out in the back garden. It wasn't active when we were there, but quite a unique feature. And this is one of the club aircraft for Clutton Hill, a Cessna, in very nice condition, just taxiing out, and they've taken off. So this is later on in the day, and this is us taking off. And there's a few bumps at the end of this runway, and then it becomes much smoother later on, but after we get past the bumps, that's why we were landing past the hedge earlier on. We're airborne now, so bumps are behind us, and you can see the Hunter's Rest down where the lake is shining, down to the left hand side of the runway. So very close to actually pop in. You walk to the end of the runway and down that little path you can see there, and on the left hand side is the pub. So now we're turning to the north slightly to miss out overflying some of these farms. And we've reduced our power so that we're not creating much noise. And we're going to fly out well beyond some of these farms, and then we'll increase our power and climb. And you can see Bristol in the distance there. And as we turn west again, you can see the Chew Valley Lake, which is a real treat. Has a little island on it and lots of boating going on. So we slow the footage down just to have a little look at that lovely little lake, which sits well above Bristol, and gravity will feed the water down then into Bristol that requires it. So using nature and gravity as a natural pump. And I think that must be the town of Hinton Blewett, I think. It might even be Bishop Sutton. Bishop Sutton, in fact, I think that is. So we were going to go and take ourselves along to Cheddar and land at a private strip at Cheddar, and everything was going quite well, and we were heading now down towards the south. You see some lovely valleys and great countryside in Somerset here. And then just about when we get to where the Mendip transmitter is, you've got the wind farm on the left, and the Mendip transmitter is actually in the clouds on the right hand side, so you can't spot the transmitter, so you wouldn't want to descend down through those clouds and hit it. So we decided, on the looks of it, those clouds are a little bit too low and a little bit too thick. So we decided we weren't going to do that, and we turned around and decided to head back up to Peasmore St John. Now this is probably Midsummer Norton that we're flying towards. It's either Midsummer Norton or Radstock. And that's probably Paulton there on the left hand side. We got the last bit of Radstock there, tailing off. And that's probably Shoscombe or Peasdown. So we decided what we'd do is we'd take ourselves into a different airstrip called White Oxmead. And the way to find White Oxmead is when you're flying, as we are, towards the east, is you keep a lookout for the very left-hand side. You can see a set of farm buildings which are quite distinct. They're right on the top of the hill. And if you head towards those farm buildings, as we're doing there, and then you head back to the west. When overhead those farm buildings, you'll basically run into White Oxmead. So I think that's Shoscombe, that village beneath us. Might be Peasmore, but Peasdown, but I think it's called Shoscombe. So we're descending now, and you've got some pylons which you have to pass over. What you tend to do is you come in quite high over the pylons, which are on the left hand side of the screen. We're going to turn onto a final leg in a second and line up, so you'll see White Oxmead in a second. There it is, White Oxmead coming to view. And we come in quite high over the pylons, and then we do a side slip to lose all the height and come in at our normal altitude. You wouldn't want to do a long flat approach here because of these pylons, so we come in quite high and then we side slip, so you'll see us turn. I'm turning now and dropping by putting the rudder in, and then we flatten it out again for the landing. Very nice strip at White Oxmead, very flat, no real bumps, good windsock. It's an east-west runway with circuits normally to the south. It is a PPR strip, but as long as you get on the radio or you speak to them beforehand, they're usually happy to accept you in. So off to the White Oxmead clubhouse for a well-deserved cup of tea. And we've been really lucky because there's no landing fees here, and they even give you the cups of tea free. And there's Jerry. And Bob in the hangar, just telling me that we can park up here. So, another great day of flying from Melksham to Clutton Hill. And here we are in White Oxmead.